like to have easy to manufacture products. And I think that AI can help in creating kind of trade-offs between what is now the best middle way to go to keep this functionality in place and also the time to market, but also focusing on robust designs and easy to manufacture with high quality.
All right. So kind of a broad look at what you want to get done. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is it working with the IoT sector?
Yeah, it's very nice, but it also goes very, very fast. We have like products that we bring to the market, and within 3-4 years they are basically obsolete, or they need to be redesigned, or need to. It's a constant run, which is very exciting, but it's also very busy and very hectic.
Yeah, I bet. I was just thinking of that. What IoT products were on the market, especially for things like lighting, like 3 years ago, and thinking about what they look like now compared to what we have. So very interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Let's see. I think we have Giovanna, if you want to go next.
Yeah, good afternoon, good morning for many of you. So I work also in Signify, so Philips Lighting for many of you. I am head of operations of 2 businesses. So one of the businesses already John mentioned about it. So and the other business is agriculture. And in this business, what we do is luminaires for greenhouses, greenhouses for farms, chicken farms, but also luminaires that you use for farms, Zalm farms in Chile, Norway. So for horticulture, we sell our turnover in 3 months, 3-4 months. So 70% of our sales is done in high season, we call it. That starts between July, August, September, and that is a very short time frame. We sell the products that we are going to develop already at the beginning of the year in fairs. So we say, okay, this is what we are going to sell, and then there is a lot of pressure to get them in time to deliver. So because of that, manufacturing is we have fully automated lines in Poland, but even there, okay. Getting operators is becoming more complicated, and also quality requirements. I do not like to depend on in such a steep ramp up from operators. So the lines are automated. Big difference. A couple of years ago, we needed around 300 people for the ramp up, and then get the operators to go home. At the moment, we use a line for around 10 people in total. So a huge change. And I'm very interested to see what we can do with AI, right? To reduce the investment that requires to do automation with vision systems, for example. So very interested on that side. And the other challenges that we have in systems and services with John is that we have factories that are in high wage countries. We have a factory in Australia and another one in UK. So there we must go in a smart automation. And there the platforms are not changed every year. So in agriculture, the product life cycles are changing every year. We have new products. So, but there it takes longer, 3-4 years. So we need to have again smart automation, flexibility, and I expect that AI can help us there, or vision systems, to avoid that investments that we do need to be written off when we change sizes, when we change form factors. So, and the company does a lot AI, a lot in legal. We have all sorts of applications in legal. We have a software team in Bangalore that is also using Gen AI for example, writing codes, debugging. So we have lots of people working in almost every function on AI to improve productivity of the people in the company.
Very interesting. For the AI that you do have, is that centrally is there a team that handles those implementations, or is it handled within each smaller unit, or how does that work? I'm always curious about that.
So we started with a central team, and the businesses sending applications, and but that turned to be too slow. So we are now in a second phase where we have AI champions for every business,
Mm-hmm.
and we have an AI community.
Nice.
And everybody now, every business is entitled to start to try and see whether we find the sweet spot of applications that would add value. But of course, we have a central organization to avoid that we are duplicating things, and also making sure that whatever we do is safe in terms of cybersecurity.
Right. So you have that hybrid approach where you have people embedded where the business is happening, but then you have a central location that can give best practices or advise on, like you said, risk of things with cybersecurity, or just the risk of duplication that, hey, we already solved that problem, you don't need to start from scratch type of thing.
Correct. Yes.
Very nice. And are you directly either connected or do you interact with the AI community where you're at, especially on the agriculture side where it's more automated?
Yeah, I am the AI champion for agriculture
business.
Okay. Yes, so I have to learn things then.
So when you look in the mirror, you're very active with that community.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, no, I missed that part. So that's really great. So you're looking at really getting more up to speed and seeing where there's opportunities and other things, and then looking at for those areas where you still have less automation and more people, especially in the high wage areas, how you can work smarter.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly.
All right. Well, welcome. That's great. All right. This is a great mix so far. We've got different industries, different goals, different positions. So we're gonna have a lot of fun here. All right, Mr. Jim, do you want to go next?
Yep. You said Jim, right? Okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
So my name's Jimmy Tim. I'm based in Canada. I'm a business advisor. I'm the founder and actually CEO of a management consulting firm. What we do is we kind of help organizations develop and implement management strategies that lead to like business excellence. So things such as integrated business planning, continuous improvement, change management, and of course, AI. I've been exposed to AI for many, many years. What I'm really interested in and what attracted me to this course is, of course, Nathan, I got the opportunity to hear you at one of your many presentations. I was so impressed, and fundamentally, just because of that is the reason that I said, you know what, I want to sign up. I want to hear more. I want to learn more, and just to be exposed to all the wonderful people that signed up to this course, just to hear the different use cases. I've worked in many different industries, all the way from mining, aerospace, finance, electronics. So I have different perspectives. And so my business is based in Canada, but we just recently opened another office in the US, and we tend to work with global corporations.
Awesome.
That's basically it.
Yeah. Well, welcome.
One other thing I should say is I volunteer on the board of the Association for Manufacturing Excellence, and that organization is a nonprofit. And what we focus on is identifying and sharing best practices. So that's another incentive for me to continuously learn what's going on. And so I said I've been involved in AI for quite some time, but it's the generative AI piece, the more recent AI activities that highly interest me.
Very good. Yes. Well, Jimmy, I'm really glad to see you today. And just so everyone knows, Jimmy and I, we go back, I think, a couple of years, and have had a lot of fun conversations about this type of thing, some practical, some philosophical. So really looking forward to that. One note that I'll have, if you look on the course itself, I don't have a specific like section for generative AI. I do have kind of a bonus section. I just haven't fully implemented it yet, but I have a recording and a lecture and everything. But we will talk a lot about generative AI for sure. Before we go on to the next few people, I did see a discussion post, and I can't remember who sent it on the kind of open forum discussion on why we don't have a specific thing on generative AI where we're talking about prediction, classification, and optimization. We'll get into it more. It's a really good question, and I'm not saying I disagree. For the moment, in my eyes, generative AI certainly should be treated as its own because it accomplishes different things. I haven't changed that yet because technically generative AI is it acts as a predictive AI tool where when you're using ChatGPT and you're saying, hey, type this for me, all ChatGPT is doing in a very, very intelligent way is saying, hey, what word do I think should come next, given all of this? And when you say, hey, make me this image, it says, well, what do I think this image should look like? So in a sense, it uses prediction. Now it does it in a very different way. So we need to treat it differently and talk about it differently. And we'll certainly do that. But if you were curious on why it's not there yet, some of it's because it's fast moving. And I each time I run the course, I kind of look at what's the latest and greatest so we can talk through it. And then I have some of the baseline elements of generative AI. So we will talk more about that. I certainly have opinions about Gen AI right now on probably more caution than not in terms of how to use it, especially in a business. But we can have plenty of conversations about that. But the promise of it is there. And in the near future, it will become, absolutely standard and necessary. I'm not personally there yet, but I am watching it closely to watch it kind of mature and evolve. But I definitely want to have that as a conversation point throughout. Yep. All right. So we got two more. Jeroen, how do you pronounce your first name?
Hi, I'm Jeroen Hartog. I live in Breda,
Jeroen,
the Netherlands.
Okay. Perfect. It always helps me to find out where someone's from, and then sometimes I can pronounce your name a little bit better. I might butcher it still, so apologize for that.
No,
So,
it's
Jeroen.
okay. It's however it's suitable for you. Either Jeroen or Jerome, it's all good. So I studied chemical engineering for a bachelor's, and I worked at the flow meter calibration lab for a couple of years. Worked with a lot of data, for measurement data, and later I did a project to deliver pharmaceuticals factory. And last year I moved into process automation, where I've been working for a year now, working on the XML project and network switches as part of a cybersecurity project. And I'm actually a bit in between jobs at the moment, as per next Wednesday. So I'm a bit hectic on where to go next, but time will tell where I'll land. And I'm taking these online courses to further advance my career. So last couple of weeks ago, I finished CS50 from Harvard X, and really delved into programming, and also had the AI tool, a bit similar to ChatGPT, but then their own developed to give you feedback on how you're doing. And I was really impressed on working with this AI tools and how much of the coding you can just ask ChatGPT, make this for me, and it's coming right out. It's moving fast.
Very good. Well, that's great. So chemical engineering background and then process automation experience as well.
Mm-hmm. For now, and we'll have to look at where we're going next.
See what comes next. Very nice. Well, welcome very much, and hopefully you can bring in some of the experiences you've had so far. And is there anything specific that you're looking to get out of the course, other than just furthering your career and looking at that?
No, just practical hands-on. So that's also one of the questions I had, is because I don't have a working environment, but I'm can fit this exercise on, if it's okay if I kind of think of a factory and with function descriptions and apply the opportunities of applying AI in those areas. Or
Yes, and actually, you're not the first to ask that question. So, for those who will be listening later in the recording, if you don't have an active, either an environment where you can imagine where you would like to apply AI, or you just don't have access to that, then you're certainly welcome to ask me how you might be able to do that. But if you have experience with other companies and you have kind of an idea in your head of kind of hypothetical, then that's perfectly fine. We can still get a lot of benefit out of that, because honestly, if you've been part of a program or a company, or you are like some process automation, something like that, we can all imagine a number of different areas where it might be viable to use AI. And hopefully one of the lessons that you'll learn as we go through here is there, like automation in general and like manufacturing in general, we're all trying to solve the same problems. We're all taking raw materials, we're doing stuff to them. We want to do it right. We'd like to do it cheap and fast. And we want it to have as little hassle as possible. And at the end, we would like it to go out and get sold and help make the business successful. We'd also like to be able to make new products whenever we want and run that through the system very quickly, so we can have new products all the time if we want. It doesn't matter if you're looking at lighting or you're looking at medication, or I was just at a business the last few months where they were making cardboard boxes, which was really cool, by the way, because it was it was, I think, 0.5 kilometer long. They're one machine that makes corrugated cardboard. So it was insane. Or you're making precision auto parts. It's all the same in that way. And so if we look at the specific context of given problems, but we also keep in mind that there's so much that we can learn from looking at other examples, other programs, other companies, then we can find a nice balance with being able to apply AI. Yeah. So now that I've digressed again, Barbara, would you like to share with us?
Hi, good afternoon, good morning. I don't know, it depends where everyone is from. I'm Barbara Sandulescu. I'm a structural engineer at a company called Bison, which is part of, it's like a mini company within a bigger company. We manufacture building products. So I'm on the concrete side of the business, but we do manufacture bricks and blocks. So those are the parts that are very automated, not the concrete side. All in all, we make hollow core products, stairs, beams for flooring products. So it can be anything from housing to car parks, let's say. As I said, the processes that we currently have are quite manual. There's a lot of going to an Excel, going to the different Excel, and I am just here because I can see that we can make these processes a lot smoother. I just need to grasp what is needed. So I thought that this is a good starting point.
No, it's great. It's great. And you brought up the magic word too, Excel, where so many projects live and breathe, whether we want them to or not. No, one thing we'll talk about here, both in the lectures, but also hopefully in the live sessions, is kind of the philosophy behind how we find these opportunities. And the approach that I take is not an AI first approach. It's very much, and Jimmy, you've heard me blab about this before. It's very much a process improvement approach, and looking at first, what is the problem that we're trying to solve? And how do we measure that? What metric are we trying to solve? Are we trying to make it better, faster, cheaper in some way? And how can we measure that? Do we measure that now? Or do we need to start measuring that as well? So if I'm looking at, concrete, for example, and looking at the process, you might be looking at the waste that you want to reduce. You might be looking at your cycle time. If you're talking about data going back and forth between systems, that smells like delays in the process. I've been part of that many times. Or you could be looking at quality control that several of you have looked at before on, and that in itself is kind of a subset of problem solving, where you say, how do I know that I did it right? And then you try to back it up and say, how do I make it right more often, and then know that I did it right? And then you can hopefully get to, how do I guarantee that it's right the first time? That's kind of the holy grail of your quality. But all of these are measurable. All of these involve the processes that each of you work on, whether it's an agriculture light or concrete, or looking at some of your heavy mining equipment. It's really about the problem solving. I really like lean manufacturing and lean process improvement, Six Sigma as well, but to me they're just two sides of the same coin, but really following that. What is the process? How do we measure it? And then when it comes to how do we fix it, like you mentioned, data coming in and out of Excel, to me, that's one of those kind of low-hanging fruit, kind of juicy projects where you can easily follow the data. You can see how many people do different things to it. They probably don't talk to each other completely, so they don't even know what the other people are doing. So if you got everyone in a room and you mapped out the process, you might be able to make it much more efficient. That might not involve AI to do that. It might involve just redesigning the process to where you can remove some steps, you can clean up the data, you can do that. But at the same time, there's a lot of opportunity where you can use AI. And so I like to look at it without guaranteeing that I'm going to use AI. If I can use a Post-it note and a whiteboard, then I'm going to use that first. And if I have to use AI, then I will. But at the same time, acknowledging reality, there's a lot of problems that can be solved with AI, especially if you look and you make them efficient using other ways first. So in the case with as you said, the data with the Excel, you can probably take some steps and clean up that process using more traditional techniques, and then look at what that could then do once you clean that up and make it efficient, then using AI on it to make it even better, or to cut out entire chunks of the process. So that's where I like to look at things, and really kind of imagine what could be there. And so my goal is, and this leads to each of your projects, my goal is for you to find an area that you probably already know in your heart can be improved for sure, and can probably be improved with AI. Almost everyone comes to the course with at least one idea, which is probably part of what brought you to the course in the first place. So that's what I want you to focus on. And then that's what I want us to talk about as a group on the Fridays, is really kind of hashing out, hey, have you tried this? Have you thought about this? Really not just me discussing it, but each of us helping each other out with that. Now, on that note, I am not a stickler for due dates, especially for a course with professionals like yourselves who have very busy jobs, probably people who care about you. If not, maybe you have a dog, that's fine too. That's a commitment. So you have these busy lives, and what I don't want is to be the person who says, well, it was due on this time and you didn't do it, so there's going to be consequences. So I could care less. I want you to do the work so it values you, or so it's valuable to you. And at the end of the course, I want you to be able to take action based off of what you've learned and the project that you've done. If you aren't able to take action, then I haven't done my job right. That's really my metric that I try to nail every time is I want you to leave the course with some knowledge, but also with this party favor of this action plan that you can jump on and make a difference as quickly as possible. That said, with the project and the due dates each week, one thing we're trying, and I mentioned this in my post, one thing that we are trying is a peer review model where I think assignments 1 and 2 and then 4 and 5 are peer reviewed or peer graded. And so because of that, especially those weeks, if you can do as good as you can of hitting the deadline of the project deliverable so that your peers have enough time to grade it, that will work much, much better and more smoothly. I feel bad even trying to hold you to a due date because I really I want to respect your ability to manage your own time and everything. But if you can do that, that would be great. I do want to warn you, this is the first time it's a new feature on the platform. So it's the first time I've experienced this. So if for some reason you run into some of these admin issues, like if it doesn't let you submit because it's late, or it doesn't let you peer review someone else's stuff, or no one has peer reviewed your stuff, please let me know. And just realize that sometimes I can't always see exactly what you're seeing from your point of view on the modules itself. But we have a great TA. She's been with me for like 3 years now on this course. So we will get to the bottom of it and solve those problems, but just communicate. You can send me a direct email. You can even WhatsApp me. I give you that number. Feel free to use that. Honestly, day or night, I might not respond to you right away if it's at 2 a.m, but I also don't mind. So feel free to do that. The key though is for all of the admin stuff to run as smoothly as possible. I really want you to participate in all the different assignments that are there, all the discussions and other things, because I don't create any type of assignment unless I see very specific value in it. I don't do anything as filler in any of my courses because I wouldn't want to do that either if I was a student, so I don't expect anyone else to do it. So anything that you see that I've asked you to do, I'm asking because I believe it will help you. But the project is the most important assignment each week. So if you have a busy week, if you're running on deadlines for work or other things, and you can only get one thing done, make it the project. And then the rest, you can catch up whenever you want, and you can get a lot of it from the lectures, and you can get the rest from our Friday conversations. How's that sound? Good? All right. And if there's something you don't like or disagree with, or you think is stupid, let me know too. I'm completely open to that. I'm not going to get offended by anyone. In fact, if you have harsh criticism of something, I don't think it's ever happened, but if it did, to me, that would be a great opportunity to have an interesting discussion about it, and one that I might change my mind on as well. I'm not going to, stick to what I have in there if you have some interesting perspectives. The reason I teach this course, in addition to I think it's necessary because there are people like you who don't have this experience with AI and need to take that first step, but you bring a wealth of experience with your professional careers and everything. I teach the course because I get so much out of it. I love teaching it every time. And I love, just being part of it, learning from all of you. So I get probably more out of it than you will. I apologize. I'm going to try and have you get as much as possible out of it. But I enjoy just talking shop with each of you on what you're working on, what type of challenges you have. So for the Friday sessions, especially, the more people, the merrier. This is about what it'll typically be for a course this size, which is great. But please bring your problems, discussions, other things that are bugging you. That's the type of thing that I want to draw out of this. And I guarantee the other people, if you have a question about something, you're probably not the only one. So that's what I have to say for today. So I'll open it up. Do any of you have any questions, thoughts that you want to share?
Yeah, sure. Just a quick, more of a comment. That cat exercise, you gave a timeline of an estimated timeline, I think, or guideline. For me, it took me a lot longer.
Oh, really? Interesting.
So it made me think, okay, am I going too deep on this, or maybe that was the intent. I don't know, but great exercise. But I was wondering, those timelines are more guidelines. So in the future, any additional weekly work, when you give a estimated amount of time, again, it's just the estimate.
Okay, excellent point. And that actually brings up two things. So when I create an assignment, I have a specific goal and something for you to take away from it. When I give a word count range and an estimated time, I have no idea if that's going to match up or not. What I do with the time is, it's just my best guess. Really, it's a protection of, hey, if you don't want to, don't spend more than this amount of time on it. You'll get the gist of it. You'll get what you need. The fact that you spent more time on it doesn't surprise me, because you like to really dig into things, but it's certainly not a bad thing. It just means that you went even deeper analytically than I felt the right to expect you to. But yeah, feel free to do that. With the word count, I don't like any assignments without an estimated word count, because if you gave me a simple project, I could do 10,000 words, or I could do 10 words, and it's just a matter of scalability. Those are my guidelines to you to protect you from giving me a 10-page paper when I just wanted a quick answer or something along those lines. There are also guidelines. If you go a little bit shorter, I'm definitely not going to do any word counts on anyone. You're all professionals and I care more about your ideas. If you give me a super long, like if I ask for a page and you give me 10 pages, I'm not going to read every single page with the intensity that I might otherwise do, because I'm on a clock as well, but I will read it and I'll get the ideas out of it. So I'm not going to penalize you for that. But typically it's just to make sure you have a rough idea of my expectations for you. But those aren't hard and fast rules, especially if you want to go deeper into it. So yeah, great question.
Yeah, I have another question
yes.
Related with assignment that needs to be prepared. Can you help us guiding what type of, what would you suggest in terms of a scope to take? I know that is a bit generic question, but I'm thinking, okay, I have this production line I was telling you, fully automated. Can I use somewhere AI to make it more, to reduce the fall-off rate that we have, to get probably to change it in a way that I don't need for next generation to get rid of part of the equipment. I can make it very complex, or I can go, for example, I have until now I have difficulties to automate, and I have still a manual wiring connection. Right, so that is costing because of no quality, complaint from customers. That might be an interesting, but it's very focused. What would you advise to get better, to have the most advantage of the course? Go focused or get a very broad assignment?
Great question. So a couple of things. I would, in terms of if you don't have a general idea, so it sounds like you have a couple of ideas, but if for the rest of you, if you aren't quite sure where to look, then I would say follow the data and follow the metrics. What things are bothering you? What things are keeping you up at night? Is it a quality issue, like you said? Is it, hey, this is moving too slowly? Hey, our costs are too high. I would start following those metrics and see, where do we have an issue? If you are not in a position where you can immediately act on your problem using AI, you can probably go a bit bigger in scope and say, hey, it would be great if we could automate this using AI in this different ways. You can be a little bit more grandiose and almost more of a roadmap than a very specific project. If you are part of a team or you have access, which a couple of you do, to the technical team who's doing the AI and who you're helping guide, or that, then in that case, I would say go more focused, because then you have the higher chance of taking action immediately after the course, and you can start to uncover some of the challenges and problems within this course and answer some of those and have a clearer kind of project guideline when you walk out of it. So something like the manual wiring might be very interesting to look at, because it's a self-contained process. It probably creates a lot of headache. There's probably a lot of complexity to it. Otherwise, it would have been more automated by now. I'm guessing, given the rest of your business, there's probably enough data that we could do some interesting things with it, even if we have to collect maybe a little bit more data. So to me, that would be ideal, given you and your specific role and the fact that you can pull the trigger and make things happen after the course. I would say go more focused, because especially if you're starting out on the AI journey, just like with any process improvement type journey, you want the scope to be narrow. You want things to be simpler. You want to try it out and see it successful. And then you can start thinking bigger and working from there. But you have to create that small momentum that creates a return on investment right away.
Exactly. Okay. No, thank you. Yeah.
And another thing you pointed out, and for the rest of you, when you're looking at this, data is the key as well for where you're going to go. The easiest thing to do is, do we have data that we can potentially use for our AI? Or are we collecting it already? Whether you're using it or not, sometimes you're using it for your metrics, sometimes you're collecting it, but you're not doing anything with it. A lot of ERP systems have a lot of data that just never gets used, but could be usable. That's another key area where you're going to have better success if you are using historical data that's already been there than if you now have to start collecting and using data. That's almost as much effort as the rest of the AI project itself, if you have to start from scratch on data. And it can create a lot of issues, especially on your first project. It's inevitably part of any AI project where you might be missing one piece of information that you have to start collecting. But I like to say that that creating new metrics or new data points to collect is like having a child. You don't just have the child and then you don't have to worry about it. You got to take care of that sucker for years, and you have to manage it and make sure it stays structured and clean and everything else. So it becomes that cost of maintenance is no small thing. And in my earlier days in process improvement, I was like, oh yeah, we'll just start measuring that. That's great. Then we can solve this problem. And I quickly saw what a burden that was. And I have six boys, by the way. So I know the cost of not just having, but taking care of children as well. So I say that with full knowledge of what that means.
6 boys. Wow.
Yeah, we adopted 4 over years. It's a messy life history of mine, but we have fun. But it's also, we don't own anything of value anymore. It's all been destroyed at some point.
Yes, and you have your lean board, right, with all KPIs. I have 3 myself, and definitely lean is the best tool to use at home.
Indeed.
Yeah.
A lot of time it's the calories per hour that are consumed and what that means to our grocery bill. Yeah.
Gee whiz, you
Awesome.
got a volleyball team with the 6 boys.
I am so close to that. I just need to teach them how to play volleyball, and we're all set. Awesome. All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, then I will. I'll let you guys go. But thank you again. And again, you know how to reach me. Good luck with the course. If you see any broken links or anything, there shouldn't be. But if you see any issues, anything that causes you trouble, either contact Mencia, our TA, or myself. And we're both really excited to make sure that this is a positive course for you.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, guys. Have a wonderful
weekend.
weekend.
See you.
Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.